Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in to my super chat. Thank you. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people. So you help me remain independent. You help me remain an independent voice. And you allow me to do what I do. And I just want to thank you. To my super chat, thank you. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, the two best moderators in all of YouTube. There's a reason that this is the best live stream in the evening. We get up to like 800 people at night. And there's a reason that one of the biggest reasons that this is an amazing live stream is because Luke St. Martin and Eric H526 are amazing moderators. So the chat is always running smoothly. Everything's positive, and it's just fun. It's great to speak to everybody here, and to my viewers around the world. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Why I'm going to use the words vandals and vandalism instead of the usual words to describe people who engage in property damage and chaos and mayhem and violence. I'm going to use these words like vandals, vandalism, arson. And my question is the following. So before I ask that question, where are the vandals coming from? Data shows mix of locals and out-of-staters converging on cities. Fox News. Why would the data show a mix? Dale, hello. Everyone here, hello. Wally Pop, hello. David Von Kettering, hello. Why would the data show, ladies and gentlemen, why would the data show that locals and out-of-staters are converging on cities? Then why would CNN bolster President Trump and William Barr's claim? Why would they bolster President Trump and William Barr's claim that there are vandals on planes? And you know, this is probably even more. This headline that CNN published is more of an admission of guilt and truth than it's more of an admission of guilt and truth than the headline that said, fiery yet peaceful. Fiery yet peaceful. Remember the fiery yet peaceful protests? This is a really interesting headline, and it's just the other day from CNN, and it's the following. It says, isolated cases of people traveling for protests, but no indication of Trump's vandals on a plane. Remember the movie Snakes on a Plane? So, no indication of Trump's vandals on a plane. Okay, what does that mean? They're admitting there are isolated incidents, isolated cases of people traveling for protest. First of all, what are you doing traveling? So I read you a Fox News article, CNN article. There's even in Nebraska, who are the Omaha protesters? And about 7 to 10% of them are outside Nebraska. Okay? Where are the vandals coming from? Data shows mix of locals and out-of-state converging on cities. Fox News. And then CNN, isolated cases of people traveling for protest. And then there's a publication from Omaha that talks about 10%. Then Twin Cities Mayor, this is Fox9.com, vast majority of violent vandals are from out of state. So the Minneapolis mayor This is on May 30th. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter said Saturday that the vast majority of vandals causing destruction are from out of state. Mayor Carter said all the people arrested in St. Paul overnight were from out of state. Okay. Then you had the Wisconsin governor say the same thing. And then you had, ladies and gentlemen, in Seattle, in Minneapolis, and in Portland, you have people who peacefully set police union buildings and police buildings ablaze. Very peacefully. This is an atrocity. Arson should never be tolerated by any country, any society. Okay? You can't deliberately set something ablaze and then just say, well, the Washington Post says it. This is interesting. Portland protesters set police union headquarters ablaze as tensions rise again. Tensions rise. And then the quote is, "You can't control people's anger." The Washington Post uses the word protesters for people who set fire to police union headquarters. Does that make any sense? And we'll get to what William Barr is doing in a second, but does that make any sense? That makes no sense at all. So, you got to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, who is allowing, if these were pro-life, let's say these were pro-life demonstrations, and they devolved into this type of horrendous chaos and mayhem, why do you think, ladies and gentlemen, this is taking place? Why do you think this is taking place? Would they say, if this was pro-life, these were pro-life protesters, and every time there is a pro-life protest in cities around the country, or not every time, but you have, because they keep saying, well, the vast majority are peaceful, vast majority, okay, that's fine. It's not a matter of percentages. If 98% of any protest is peaceful, 98%, and then 2% caused $1.4 billion of property damage nationwide, then it's a serious issue. J-Man! Harris says she doesn't trust Trump's vaccine. Well, there you go, J-Man. Notice how Notice how it's like their religion becomes less dogmatic. The religion of trusting government becomes less dogmatic when it's President Trump. J-Man, thank you. But you have William Barr and John Durham. I'm sorry, you have William Barr and President Trump. They're well aware that there are peaceful protesters traveling across the country, peacefully setting buildings ablaze, very peacefully, causing $1.4 billion in property damage. Very peacefully causing mayhem and chaos. And very peacefully destroying businesses. And how many black-owned businesses? How many Hispanic-owned businesses? How many Asian-owned businesses? How many businesses owned by minority business owners, people of color, were destroyed? What's the dollar amount? What's the dollar amount in terms of millions upon millions of dollars? It's like, Tammy! Right, it doesn't stress because Bill Gates is Tammy Eaton! Tammy, nobody asks, and this is something that I don't understand. Nobody asks on the left. Democrats don't ask how many millions of dollars in property damage, how many business owners or businesses owned by people of color were destroyed, and how many lives were ruined because of peaceful protests. And then you have a book, and I'm not joking. Then you have a book in defense of vandalism. Okay? And then, of course, you have The Atlantic. There's no defense for vandalism. Yeah, right. The Atlantic. The Atlantic has tarnished whatever reputation that it had. It had a great... It was a prestigious publication. It is one of the reasons President Trump is going to win. It is one of the reasons they talk about election interference. Oh my God, election interference. And then they publish a bunch of nonsense that then they say their gossip has been confirmed. So it's quotes that they don't have anything on Trump. They have nothing on him. They have nothing on the man. They don't have any Russian interference. His taxes are fine. You don't, like Jerry Nadler and Pelosi, they're not accountants. The IRS has his taxes. They have Stormy. That issue is. I think Avenatti probably wishes he never got involved. So, they have nothing on him. They have nothing except he's a mean person and he's a racist. Trump is a racist. Well, then why did he allocate more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any other president ever, including President Obama? Why did he sign criminal justice reform legislation, which is why these fiery but peaceful protests, one of the reasons they're taking place? There are opportunity zones that were started. And then people say, well, it's not really working out. Well, at least he's trying something. Okay, economic opportunity zones. You can look. It's just, how a Trump tax break to help poor communities became a windfall for the rich. Well, if you're getting investment into communities, you're bringing jobs. You're at least bringing economic activity. Democrats say, well, we have to move communities. They just literally give up on impoverished areas of the country that they run. They've literally given up. They're like, well, you know what? We're just going to, this is a plan to bring people to the suburbs. It's like, well, you're just not going to help their communities. So the communities that Democrats have presided over for decades, you're not going to ensure that these citizens come out of poverty, or that there's economic activity and there's people can have jobs and feed their families, and wealth inequality. They talk about wealth inequality. Well, why is there such drastic, horrendous wealth inequality in areas run by Democrats? Then they're like, the opportunity zones have just started in the past couple years with Trump, and they're like, opportunity zones fall short of helping low income. It's like, well, what did you expect? You expect immediate economic reversal? President Trump is trying to reverse decades of horrendous policies, primarily from Democratic Party politicians. What do you want him to do? Fast forward. He can't. He's not like Superman. He like flies around the earth and he can like fast forward, 20 years. If you bring businesses and if you bring development into economically depressed communities, you can help them. Joshua, thank you. Joshua, thank you. So it's interesting, like it's interesting how you Senator Tim Scott, opportunity zones are really working. This is a Washington Examiner article. How many times have you heard a Democrat say, you know what, we're going to invest in areas that are suffering economically. We're going to invest in areas run by Democratic Party officials. How many times have you heard this? So check this out. The 2017 tax reform law was a once-in-a-generation tax cut for American families, small businesses, and workers. This is by Senator Tim Scott. A huge part of that victory was that we were able to bring hope and prosperity to communities. Jeez. Giant, prehistoric, flying creatures all around me. Okay. A huge part of that victory was that we were able to bring hope and prosperity to communities that have been left behind through new opportunity zones. Nationally, okay, so in my home state of South Carolina, there is a new $54 million tech corridor that's finally becoming a reality because of the Opportunity Zone law. And just last month, a nonprofit announced that it has formed a partnership to construct rural healthcare facilities and make healthcare accessibility a reality for our rural communities. Nationally, we see projects like the construction of an innovative vertical farm that will work to employ formerly incarcerated individuals in Wilmington, Delaware. In Virginia, a mobile home park will be transformed into 800 units of affordable housing to be offered first to current residents. The site will also offer rent-free commercial space to current residents interested in becoming first-time entrepreneurs. How is this a bad thing? But it is a bad thing. Business entrepreneurship is like, you get like an allergic reaction from Democrats. That's why, like, you got AOC, like, no, Amazon, be gone. You're not going to pay taxes. Meanwhile, it was like $27 billion in taxes, or I'll get the numbers in a second. I always love that. Inverted Earth. I watch for the Intelligent Conversation and the Icon Candy. Thanks for all you do. Inverted Earth, hello. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Inverted Earth. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Be here November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We are going to have the most amazing, we're going to have the most lovely, amazing time. I'm going to read the celebrity meltdowns. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be like, you know what, America? You're just not worth it. Our country is done. Our republic is done. Our Constitution is done. And that'll just be from like the 80s and 90s stars. Imagine what the celebrities of today will say. It'll just be fantastic. Inverted Earth, thank you so very, very much. Thank you for the kind words. And thank you for watching. Here you have a really, really wonderful article. Check this out. The site will also offer rent-free commercial space to current residents interested in becoming first-time entrepreneurs. Newark, New Jersey has seen the start of a $40 million fund to provide housing for our nation's school teachers. In Erie, Pennsylvania, it's a multi-million-dollar fund dedicated to investing in early-stage IT and cybersecurity startups. In Chicago, 3,300 units of affordable homes will be updated and preserved over the next years. Needless to say, change is coming. The skeptics insist it is no more than a Republican tax cut serving as a windfall for the rich. It is remarkable how The voices that so often criticize Washington for an apparent lack of bipartisanship can be so quick to forget it. The Opportunity Zone legislation has had broad bipartisan support since its inception. In fact, the last Congress in which it was introduced as a standalone measure, it boasted 95 bipartisan co-sponsors between the House and Senate. It's also important to clear up any misconception on the zones themselves. Of the 8,766 census tracts designated as opportunity zones, more than 20% have poverty rates of 40% or higher, and these are all Democratic-run areas, compared to 5% of communities nationwide. The average poverty rate of a zone resident is 28.9%, more than twice the national average. More than twice, only 6% of zones have a median family income above the national average, while 71% of the zones meet the U.S. Treasury definition as severely distressed. So, this is why Democrats don't want this, because they're like, what? You mean people are actually going to get out of poverty? We don't like this. We can't have this. This cannot happen. I have to get back to. I have to find exactly the quote, the art. I did 2 segments on this. Brilliant and wonderful and talented and amazing AOC. So amazing. So science-y, and the Economist, intelligence and wisdom not seen since Einstein. We have to just, this is fantastic. I love this so much. So there was going to be, all right, so I did a segment on, the segment is titled AOC Prevents 107,000 jobs, $27 billion in tax revenue, and $186 billion in New York gross state product. So this is just unbelievable. And this is a J-Man, bad policy because Dems ain't doing diddly squat. Exactly. This is just one of the best. This is one of the most amazing things you've ever seen. It's really one of the most amazing things you've ever seen. I still get. So this is the segment here, and I read from an article, basically a USA Today article. It's a publication, one of the local publications, a regional publication linked to USA Today. And it's just so awesome. I can't tell you how awesome it is. So, and I list the URLs here. It's just so awesome. Okay, so this is the Democrat and Chronicle. Does New York's Amazon math add up? State study relies on big assumptions. Okay, the state study was conducted by Democrats who probably have a better idea of what Amazon was going to bring to the state in terms of wealth and tax revenue, and just in terms of economic activity. Economic activity is a lot more important than tax revenue. Because if you're not getting it directly from Amazon, you're still getting it from the employees that pay city and state tax. They tax you up the wazoo, just like Los Angeles. I don't know if you have to pay a city tax, but if you live in California, New York, or LA, you live in New York City, you live in Los Angeles, you pay a city tax. You pay a city tax. And then you pay a state tax. Then you pay an income tax. Then you pay fees associated if you own a business. Then you pay fees associated with a whole bunch of things that if you're doing anything, you're going to pay a fee or a tax. Okay? You're always paying taxes. Always paying taxes. Always. So this is the state's estimate that Amazon's newly planned Queens headquarters would bring in $27.5 billion in new tax revenue. $27.5 billion in new tax revenue is based on the tech giant hiring 40,000 people. The 25,000 people that they were initially hiring, Amazon said they were going to go. It was the headquarters was big enough to fit 40,000 people, and Amazon's always growing. I would love to see when all the progressive Congress people, how much money they spend on Amazon a month, a year. I would love it. Don't even talk about Pelosi. Everything that you like, Pelosi is probably on Amazon every day. We know that going to the hair salon and not even wearing a mask inside, because that's for losers. It's interesting. The truth about them is swept under the rug, and then they amplify and try to spread gossip and hearsay and lies about Trump. Then they say Trump lies. Then when you fact check the Washington Post's 20,000 lies, a third of it, because a fact checker actually fact checked the Washington Post's Pinocchio fact checking obsession. They found that around 1/3 of the alleged lies were true, like categorically true. Like there wasn't a problem at all, it was just categorically true. But anyway, really quickly, the state's estimate that Amazon's newly planned headquarters would bring in $27.5 billion in new tax revenue is based on the tech giant hiring 40,000 people. It committed to 25,000, but still, it was going to. What does it matter if it's 27.5 billion, or 10.5 billion, or 15.5 billion in new tax revenue? They don't have that money now. Instead of 25,000 people, AOC got them to just only bring 1,500, and they're like, "Here, we're just gonna go someplace else." The $3 billion in taxpayer subsidies would have led to $27.5 billion in new tax revenue in the long term. It's like, how are you winning? How is that winning? The study estimated $14 billion in new state tax alone, separate from New York City's estimate of their own tax of $13.5 billion in city revenue. So they would have gotten taxed at the city level and the state level, but don't tell that to AOC, because she saved the state from getting $27.5 billion in tax revenue. Wow, what a fantastic victory. Then they're like, well, it's only going to bring 25,000 jobs. Well, now you only have 1,500, so how have you won? Well, tax revenue is based. So what? You still get the economic activity of 25,000 jobs to Queens, which would have been fantastic. But don't tell that to the Democrats. Then you get to hear wealth inequality, and you know what? We have no money. Health. It's like, well, you kicked out 25,000 jobs. That would have been 40,000 jobs. You created this, Democrats. Actually, you know what? The current, Bernie Sanders, he created it. He created all of this, but Prophecy Views, hello. Prophecy Views, hello. Thank you. Prophecy Views, thank you. But this is the really big thing. This is the point that I always bring up. I always bring up this point because it is so important, and it's so important. And by the way, she presides over parts of Queens, also parts of the Bronx and parts of Queens. Yeah. Her district includes the eastern part of the Bronx and portions of north central Queens. So, but this is what is interesting. In all the study estimates that the Amazon headquarters would create more than 107,000 direct and indirect jobs and add 186 billion to the gross state product. Oh, but it was only 27,000 jobs. So then fine. Then it would have then you 50, let's say 50,000, 60,000 direct and indirect jobs initially. In the long term, it would have been 107,000 direct and indirect jobs. Congratulations. You're one step closer to universal basic income and a Green New Deal and climate change, green and every other Medicare for all and every other idea that Democrats will never, ever, 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 ever pass in Congress. This is one of the many reasons President Trump's going to win. Clinton is going to be there eventually. If not, I'm going to go into November 3rd. I'm not even going to worry. They have to get close enough to cheat. This is the problem. Hillary Clinton is the best candidate they have, which says a lot about the Democratic Party. Okay, they have to get close enough to cheat, and you can sense that they're like looking forward to it. We're not going to call the election until November 5th or 4th or even the 6th. Yeah. Well, how do you know that won't help Trump? Why are you so confident? The longer it goes, the better it is for you. Oh, that's right, because you think that media will side with you, and that you'll be able to cheat. You'll be able to do to the country what you did to Bernie Sanders. Sorry, but the country is run by Trump. He fights. Bernie doesn't fight. Trump fights. So, Prophecy News, thank you. Kathleen Smith. Kathleen, hiya. Hello, Kathleen. Kathleen Smith, thank you very, very much. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you. D. Velasquez. The party of self-pretzeling is Amazon for not paying enough taxes, but loves the taxpayer-funded post office who doesn't charge Amazon enough postage. That is a great point. That is a great point. D. Velasquez, great point. And it goes to what you're saying, D. Velasquez, and thank you again, Kathleen. It's a great point. They love Peter Strzok and James Comey, but they don't like William Barr. Do you understand? They don't like William Barr, and they don't like Trump. They don't like Trump, and they don't like the Postmaster General, but they love the post office. And they love government when it suits them, but they don't like government. They like people coming out and saying bad things about Trump. It's like, so what? Well, this colonel said a bad thing about Trump. What do I care? That's his opinion. What do I care? This intelligence official said a bad thing about Trump. So, what do I care about that? Do you have any evidence? Do you have any direct evidence? No. Then why are you bringing it up? Oh, that's right. Because media will roll with it. Spectrum Wits! H.A. been watching you since you're coming out of the closet. You're talking about becoming a Trump supporter. Wish I could support more. You are the best late night these days. Thank you, Spectrum Wits. Thank you. Spectrum Wits, thank you. Thank you very, very much, Spectrum Wits. Doug Barnard. HA Economics is dynamic, not static. It's not one-to-one. Thank you, Doug. That economics is dynamic, not static. Exactly. And like they see things. Old school dad man. HA problem with those new workers wouldn't vote for AOC. That's right. Old school dad man. Occasional. The issue with occasional is that's the problem. You're right. Old school dad man. They need incentive, which all like the left is crumbling before our very eyes. Media media. They are now resorting. They're now resorting to saying that Trump said this, and then they've warped. Their brains are so warped that they now claim that it's the gossip that was reported in the Atlantic has been confirmed, but you can't confirm gossip. So even if they speak to the same unnamed sources, and then the unnamed sources say the same things they told the Atlantic journalist, quote unquote journalist, that is not journalism. You can't say that people on condition of anonymity stated Trump said this. It's hard enough to accurately quote people. Like, journalists have a hard time quoting people when they're actually supposed to be writing down what the person says. And that's not even Trump's personality. They're like, well, he went after McCain, so what? They had a feud. You should see what the left did to McCain. And now they're telegraphing, they're like, there's more gossip coming out. We're going to have more. You're going to have more anonymous people saying that Trump said this. It's like, so what? Why would I care what? If you can't prove something, why would I care about your sources? Because the media in this day and age haven't proven themselves to be like reliable or accurate or even care about the truth. They're one-sided partisans. They're an extension of the Democratic Party. It's not even hyperbole to say that. Dilly Raver! On November 4th, Trump will win, the Democrats will fall, and then the salt will flow again as it did once before. I have foreseen it exactly, Deadly Raver, exactly. And it's going to, oh my God, salty, oh my God. They don't realize, see, this is the thing. They're enamored with polls, which is really funny because what's going to take place yet again, is that the same appeals to authority. Like, they don't form arguments. They don't actually have any ideas that they can defend. What they do is they say, well, Biden's up. Why? Is it because of his charisma? Hiss him out. Come on, man, you junkie. A junkie. Come on, man. Huh? 100 years? Pandemic, 100 years. The thing is this. You know, I have to go, everybody. Okay, bye. Is it because of his eloquence? Come on, man. You junkie. Come on, man. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Is it because of his charisma? Is it because of his long track record of making the world better? And then he goes the other day, he's like, because... What did he say? He was like, it's not working. Like, he turned into like one of the Harry Potter characters. As you want... And he has the mask. The mask is like, they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know. And Trump tried to make everything about, it's not working. It's not working. And it's like, it was so creepy. It was so creepy. It was like so creepy. It's not working. Thanks, Biden. What you lack in charisma, you make up with really weird, like scary and frightening statements. And can I tell you how much I love watching the media kiss his Tales from the Crypt behind? I just...
Mr. Vice President, can I, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice President? I'm sorry, I just was wondering, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice President, I don't want you to get upset, okay? Trump was taking a cognitive test, and I know you don't need one, but I was just wondering, are you thinking you're gonna
Junkie! You junkie? What are you taking a snorting right now, junkie? Lying, dog-faced junkie. Why don't you take one, man? Why don't you take one, man?
They're going to get decimated. They're not even going. This is why it's just a matter of when.
It's just a matter of when Madam Secretary swoops in. Like, I'm telling you, Madam Secretary, God bless her. She's a fighter. Love fighters. I'm voting for President Trump, but I always tell this story. If you've watched this channel, you know this story. I was at my uncle's house a long time ago. It was like 4th of July. We were all there, and everybody was just relaxing. And he lives like in the hills, and it was just really nice. And he has this, it's very nice, has a very nice backyard and nice, just like grass, and lives up in the hills. And then this little bunny rabbit comes popping out of the bushes, starts like, and I look, and I'm like, oh, bunny rabbit, it's a nice bunny rabbit, yeah. And then out of nowhere, this hawk comes like, and grabs the bunny rabbit with its talons and flies the rabbit off. And I was like, ah! And that's Madam Secretary. Do you understand? The bunny rabbit is hey, come on, man. The bunny rabbit is Biden. They're not going with Botox Biden. This is not happening. Okay? This is not happening. Like, it was like, if Biden's like, hey, come on, man. And then Madam Secretary, you want me? I'm telling you, this cannot, because when they say he's up in the polls, they're saying we despise Trump so much. This man who articulates and communicates like he had 20 tequila shots and banged his head with a hammer is up. He's a wholesome man. He's a wholesome, good man. He's a decent man. No, he's not. He's a slime ball. He's a major slime ball. And he tanked his campaign deliberately 3 days before George Floyd was murdered. He said, if you have a problem voting for me or Trump, then you ain't black. To Charlemagne the God. Okay? And any politician that does that is tanking their campaign. So I don't know how, but it's going to be an amazing debates with Hillary Clinton, because she can debate Trump. Look, I'm not a fan of the Clintons. Not a fan at all. Not a fan. I'm not a fan. She can debate Trump. Biden cannot debate. He cannot debate Trump. I love how this Chris Cillizza said this on CNN. He was like, he just has to show up. And if he shows up and he's just, lucid and he's awake, he wins. I'm like, that's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. People's standards, like the average voter has standards much higher than is he breathing. Is he breathing? Well, what's the problem? He's won. Anyone who's alive compared to Trump is better, right? And did Trump get us into a war? No. That was Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, and President Obama turned Libya into a failed state. Did he cause an economic collapse? No. That was the pandemic response from all the experts and the Democratic governors. So, what did this man do? Okay, the cages were built under President Obama, and he signed an executive order to stop that, which I agree was a bad thing. But President Obama's administration did worse. So much worse, I can't even talk about it on the YouTube live stream. They don't like facts. They don't like reality. Reality is... And then they say, oh, Stephen Miller. Like, then you get these like wonderful liberals. They suddenly grow a conscience. They suddenly care about the topic of immigration. Suddenly, like, Stephen Miller. Oh, he's a bad... Oh. What do you think President Obama was doing for 8 years? La Raza called him the deporter-in-chief. And he engaged, his administration engaged in a whole lot of horrible things pertaining to that topic that I can't even talk about on the YouTube live stream. Yeah, I'll talk about it on H.A. Goodman's other channel when I ramp up production of content on H.A. Goodman's other channel. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, they got something up their sleeve. That's why everybody's so quiet. Like, do you ever wonder, like, do they know they have an exhumed body running for president? Do they know that they have a cadaver? Like, do they know that they have... Biden looks like a zombie that was running for some kind of political office. He looks like a zombie that's running for political office in a zombie apocalypse. Do they know this? I don't think they know this. Or they're like, they don't realize and they think something's going to happen, like to save them. Because it ain't going to be the Atlantic article, I can tell you that. The Atlantic, they already told you, like, we're coming out with more. More people have said bad things. More people have said that Trump said bad things. Trump said he murdered Santa Claus. Yes, people who are in the know have said that. Ever wonder why Santa Claus no longer gives gifts? Because Trump offed him. Yeah, that's why. He doesn't live anymore because of Trump. And the elves were deported from the North Pole. And there was a Trump golf course in the North Pole. He leveled the candy canes and the place where Santa Claus works. He leveled it all. No more North Pole Santa Claus. Trump ruined everything. So, they're completely delusional. R. Zachman! Even if Joe Biden shows up at the debate, it really depends on who the moderators are and what questions they ask. That's true. I think it's going to be Clinton at the debates. That's my prediction. But R. Zachman, it's true. The questions are going to be important, but I think, like, the moderators, R. Zachman, thank you. The moderators are just going to, like, I can tell you right now, if they're so inept to go with Biden at the debates, which I cannot see happening, there are going to be moments where Trump is just eating him alive, and the moderator goes, and then this is going to be celebrated and championed. Oh my God, did you see? Mr. President, you've drawn the line, okay, sir? You've drawn the line, sir. Just because he's drooling doesn't mean you have the right to say that he's drooling. No, Mr. President, apologize for both of his eyes welling up in a red, crimson color like that happened in CNN. That was a capillary. No, Mr. President, you apologize right now. He wasn't sleeping. He was he was looking at his notes. No, you apologize, Mr. President. And then, like CNN, moderator defends the Republic. Moderator defends American democracy and good decency. R. Zachman, thank you. It's like not even... But see, the thing is, like, most people are not obsessed. Even the people who don't like Trump, there are I would say 50% of Democrats have derangement issues that you cannot fix. They would rather vote for an alligator with a top hat than Trump. But then there are 50% of Democrats who really don't like Trump, but then they're looking at like the cities being torn apart, and it's like they're slowly understanding, like, I'm never voting for Trump, but he ain't that bad. But I'll just go with it because everybody I know is just so unhinged and apoplectic and fanatical and hysterical and seething and fuming. There are that 50% of Democrats also know, and there are progressives within there. They also look at Biden and they're like, this man can't win. He can't win. Does anybody know this? And then when you bring that up, if you're a Democrat, because I don't have Twitter, if you see anyone on Twitter impersonating me, contact Twitter. They're breaking the law. But what happens is if you bring that up as a Democrat, they're like, okay, comrade, how much is Putin paying you? How much is Putin paying you? How much is Putin paying you to say that? Because all the polls show that Biden is up. So obviously you don't know what you're talking about. Well, the polls were all wrong in 2016, genius. Why would you bring up? It's like, these people, they never learn because the arrogance is so ingrained. Like, they're so arrogant and conceited, and the hubris and the narcissism is like they really truly believe that they're morally superior. To be a Democrat, you have to believe you're morally superior, more intelligent, and wisdom isn't really an issue, but they think that whatever tactic they use, the Republicans are worse, even though the Republicans aren't worse. Republicans aren't, pure as the driven snow, but in this day and age, they're not as bad as Democrats. In the Bush administration, they were worse. So the two parties take turns, and media actually was more favorable to the Bush administration than they were to Democrats in a way. But still, media was like middle of the road to an extent. Now you just have a blatant allegiance. Lollipop! Polls are for... Lollipop! They were almost at 600 viewers, ladies and gentlemen. 600 viewers. Tell your friends. Tell them to join. 600 viewers, everyone. Late at night, 10 p.m. on a Sunday evening. 10 p.m. Pacific. So, I mean, if you look, ladies and gentlemen, remember when Bernie Sanders and everybody was becoming me? Remember when Bernie Sanders was going to win the Democratic nomination? Remember that? Like, everyone says this. Everyone was saying this, sorry. Everyone was saying this until he lost South Carolina, and then it immediately reversed. So, and then they say, well, you know what? The mail-in ballots the ballots are being mailed out. So, you don't think Democrats, if they wanted to make the change, would be like, when they want to make the change, because it's going to be Hillary in those debates. You don't think Democrats will say, oh, you know what? Media will say, oh, this is fine. We'll just reprint the ballots and send them out again. What's the problem? They don't run by any rules. That's what I'm trying to say. And I can't believe that it doesn't make any sense. Biden is barely, he barely speaks. The moment he speaks, it's a travesty. The polls are already, basically, Trump is basically tied in swing states, which means you have to also, if he's not down by 14, President Trump's coming back. Or even if 14 is coming back, I'm saying, if you have a poll where it's Biden up 8, well, the media has devoted its life and given its soul to taking down Trump. You have to take it within context. The wonderful polling experts don't realize that, first of all, Trump supporters don't answer the phone. Secondly, they don't answer. CNN, hi. Is this the Atlantic? No, I don't. Yeah, you know what? I heard that Trump said he wanted to destroy Christmas, and that he held the tooth fairy for ransom. Yeah. And and then he did something to Santa Claus. Yeah. I heard that. You can quote me, but I want to be quoted on condition of anonymity because I know so much. Also, I have time. I have about 45 minutes to an hour. Do you want to ask me about who I'm voting for? Okay. Is this CNN or the Atlantic or the Washington Post? Because I'm a Republican. Yeah, sure. I don't like Trump. Yeah. This is like nobody answers the phone. Like if CNN goes to you, Silver Sword, love to all. Silver Sword, hello. Silver Sword, hello. Thank you, Silver Sword, thank you. So nobody's going to nobody's going to answer the phone. And no Gary Johnson, exactly, Malou Slater. No Gary Johnson. So I don't see, like, the whole thing with Democrats is that you need high voter turnout in cities. You need high voter turnout. You're not going to get Biden is not doing as well as Hillary Clinton among black and Latino voters. Trump is doing better than he was in 2016. And the thing is, like, I don't care what people think of me. So when I became a Trump supporter, it was like free from the shackles of like this groupthink cult called the left, where you're not good enough. Like, do you understand? They dislike each other more than they dislike us. They do. It's the truth. They dislike, I can tell you right now, the progressives and they call them neoliberals, the I'm with her crowd and the Bernie crowd. And then there's people to the left of Bernie that think Bernie is a racist and a misogynist. Oh, do you remember what Elizabeth Warren said? Elizabeth Warren said Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Silver Sword. Thank you again. Elizabeth Warren said Bernie Sanders said a woman couldn't win. Thanks a lot, Elizabeth. Yeah. So let's see. Let's look up the tally of all the wonderful things you did for me, Liz. So in 2015 and 2016, you didn't support me. That was really nice of you. Thanks for not supporting me. Thanks for not helping me when I needed you the most. Seeing that we basically wanted everything from Medicare for all to breaking up banks and everything. But, thanks for supporting me, Elizabeth Warren. Thank you. Big props to you, Elizabeth, for supporting me. Not. You didn't even support me at all. Thanks a lot. And then you made up for that by not supporting me by saying that I told you a woman couldn't win. Why would I tell you that? Why would I tell you that? Bernie Sanders told Elizabeth Warren, this is CNN, the trusted news and name. Bernie Sanders told Elizabeth Warren in private 2018 meeting that a woman can't win, sources say. Why would I care? This is so silly. This is like 8th grade. Like if you were right, sources say that you stole Jimmy's backpack. Sources say. You don't go to the teacher and say, Mrs. Greenfield, sources say that my backpack was stolen by Roger. Sources say. What? Go back to your seat. Sources say. Just go back to your seat. Sources say this. They do it to Bernie, and then he was like, you could do it to me. And then, you know what? Test it out on me, and then you could do it to Trumpy. Okay? I'm all for the team. So they tested it out on him, and they tried to go after Tulsi Gabbard, and they said that she was a Russian operative without any basis in reality. They're so vile and insidious. It's unbelievable. Bernie Sanders told Elizabeth Warren in private 2018 meeting that a woman can't win. What do you think he was? You know, Elizabeth, as I'm speaking to you, a woman, and I just want to tell you, between you and me, I hope you don't tell anyone this. You know, I want Medicare for all. I want a Green New Deal. I want a lot of good things. But there's a problem, you know. I just don't think a female can win. I mean, let's be honest. I just don't think so. What say you? What say you, Elizabeth? Do you think I'm right about that? I mean, you did fail your DNA test. I mean, come on. Who does that? 1/1000th. Huh? Trump is more Native American than you. So, you tell me. Do you think a woman could win? I rest my case. Don't tell anyone I told you this. Do you think that's what happened? I don't think that's what happened. I think that, I don't know, they're lying. I think it was to smear Bernie Sanders. I think it was to put words in his mouth. So this is the new tactic in politics. You fabricate words and actually put them into the mouth of your opponent. The Democrats are so pathetic. They're so pathetic and sad that they don't have anything specific. Like they can't say Trump actually said this. So they tried with the both sides thing that nobody even believes that anymore. It's like the biggest hoax of all time. Well, he meant this. So they can't say that. They can't use his actual words and say that, well, this is what he really means, because that doesn't work. That's obvious, like, that they're just trying to manipulate things he says and actually try to, like, create or manufacture meaning. So they just said, gosh, that wasn't working. We're just gonna make stuff up. We'll see how it goes. It's the Atlantic. That's reputable. We'll just publish it in the Atlantic. Paul Bartlett, hello. Paul Bartlett, thank you as always, Paul, for the kind words and for watching. So it's like, what are they running on? I want to know, like, what are Democrats running on? President Trump just had two major foreign policy achievements. Diplomatic, like, achievements. Exactly. Anonymous sources should be a new segment on CNN. Exactly. It should. But, like, what are they running on? They don't have any. They don't have anything that they're actually running. We are going to do this if we're elected. And Biden, he doesn't speak ever. And when he does, the GOP war room and, like, everyone, like, conservatives on Twitter, the only people who want Biden to speak are Trump supporters, people who are voting Trump. We're all waiting, please. We're waiting for him to speak. Democrats don't want him to speak. How are you going to get voter turnout with this? This makes no sense. That's why I say Hillary Clinton is waiting, because she can get the voter turnout. I'm telling you, she can actually win. I'm telling you. Biden, no chance. He doesn't ever talk. He doesn't ever communicate. And when he communicates, he does weird things like, it's not happening. He wants to paint violence in cities as a Democrat thing, but it's not happening. Okay, weirdo. Frightening man. Nobody. And the best is, like, you see, he's speaking because they're really responsible. He's speaking to people, and there's like 50 seats in between each person. It's just, it Like, even with the boats capsizing, which was not a good thing, you still have enthusiasm. You like the boats like going, oh, yeah, Trump! And then the person gets picked up by another boat. I don't know what happened. God bless the people who... I hope nobody was injured. Like, I don't know if anyone was injured, but even with like boats capsizing, you still have enthusiasm. You still have enthusiasm for Trump. My boat is capsizing, but I'm still voting Trump. So it's Hail Cobra. Hello, no PhD coyote. Hello. Nobody was hurt. Okay, Texas native. Hello. Hail Hydra. Yes. Who remembers the amazing... I actually have it on DVD. Who remembers the amazing episode where Destro launches this coup attempt against Cobra Commander, which is so hilarious. Cobra Commander! It's so hilarious. It's actually it's like the best. They wrestle control away of Cobra from him. It's just awesome. But yeah, I mean, things are heating up a little bit. You have William Barr. William Barr has 2 major investigations now. It's not just one, it's 2 major investigations. Two major investigations. I mean, broad, wide-ranging investigations. Finding out who's basically indicting people and arresting people for the very peaceful protests. And the Durham probe. What he really should do, I mean, what William Barr should do, maybe the Justice Department doesn't need to do this, but they should start a special counsel or something. They should find a prosecutor to focus exclusively, like the Durham probe, exclusively on the vandalism, the property damage, the chaos, the mayhem. And Democrats say, well, you can't prove it's the Democratic Party, or you can't prove. It's like, well, who's going after police stations? And like I said, when I started off this segment, if you had pro-life demonstrations throughout 25 cities, and after every pro-life demonstration, after every single one, it devolved into chaos and mayhem and property loss and violence, you better believe the Washington Post would be like, pro-life equals property loss. They wouldn't be as generous. Like, they wouldn't be as forgiving. They wouldn't be as sympathetic. They just wouldn't. I mean, I think that you're going to have one or two things take place. Once Hillary Clinton takes over for Joe Biden and loses again to President Trump, she could make it very close, but she'll lose again. Media will change. I'm telling you, media is going to change. Media has to change. Because there used to be more of a focus on truth. There's no focus on actual truth now. Nana, hello. I don't know I can't see the whole name. It says Nana for Nana. Thank you. Oh, Nana for children. Nana for children. Thank you. Nana for children. Thank you. Nana for Children, thank you very, very much. Thank you, Nana for Children. Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Let's just see here. What's going on here? Let's see. I just want to see. Let's see what's going on Twitter. Okay, so Hillary Clinton was right about everything. Woof. I love that so much. I love that so much. When they say she was right about everything. Yes. Yes. And purchasing the Steele dossier. Yes. Well, I mean, obviously she was right about everything. She paid for everything that was going on. So of course she's right about it. She paid for it. What do you expect? What do you expect? I'm just trying to see here. Okay, so something's very, very weird. And it's just very bizarre. Very bizarre how, like, everyone's taking Biden in stride. Nana for Children, thank you. It's very bizarre that they're taking everything in stride. Isn't that bizarre? Like, do they not see that when they look at Biden, what do they see? Do they see Winston Churchill? Who do they see when they look at Biden? Like, how severe is the derangement issues pertaining to Trump? When I think you could decipher how severe, you can evaluate how severe the derangement issues they have towards Trump by how much a Democrat admires Biden. There are no Biden voters. There have never been national Biden voters. He doesn't have a grassroots movement. He defeated Bernie Sanders because his name was not Bernie Sanders or Trump, and Democrats can't stand Bernie Sanders. So let me just see here. There's a hashtag. This is great. Oh, I love this. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is trying to Debbie Wasserman Schultz is trying to visit post office mail facilities to ensure that the elections are run fairly. It's like you are part of history. You are part of American history that no doubt Democrats have already forgotten and tried to rewrite. But every Bernie Sanders supporter from 2016, which includes the Rose Twitter people, which is funny because a great many read my writing, and I was writing before Rose Twitter. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Emily Cooper! I accuse her of declining. These really shows in the media and people who write the propaganda create the strategy. Well, Emily, I think that it's interesting. I think that they might be intelligent. Like, I think intelligence and wisdom are two different things. I think that wisdom is the most important attribute. A lot more important than just what people would consider intelligence. I don't think that there's an actual there's one way to quantify intelligence. But wisdom, you can look at a person or political party and say, how much wisdom? Like, is there any wisdom to cheating Bernie Sanders? Like, what is the long-term effect? That's one of the biggest reasons. I mean, everything I say, I always say this. Oh, that's why they're going to lose. That's why they're going to lose. Once they cheated Bernie Sanders, they basically, their future was altered forever because they prevented their own candidate who would have won at that moment in time. Thank God President Trump won. Emily Cooper, thank you. I think they're Laura Weekly, thank you. Laura, thank you very, very much. Thank you for that. Very kind of you. Emily, I think that, and Nana for Children, thank you so very, very much. Emily, I think that these are very intelligent people who are doing things because they're arrogant and they're narcissists. So they lack wisdom. The intelligence is there because you have to be very, duplicitous, and you have to be very crafty when it comes to, all of these elaborate lies they tell. Just actually the projection alone is so devious, and it takes intelligence to do what they do. There are a lot of criminals who are very intelligent, but they lack wisdom. So, Emily and Nana for Children, thank you. Jordan B. Hello from the IE where it's still over 100 degrees. No worries, got an ice cold Corona and watching HA Life is Good. Nice, Jordan B. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, Jordan B. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for always watching, and of course, be here. Be here on November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all throughout November. We're going to have an amazing time. It's just going to be amazing. I mean, I can't wait. It's going to be great. Who's actually looking forward to November? It's only people voting for Trump. Roman hoax. The Civil War talk is over. Oh, I agree with you. That's not going to happen. Trump's reelection is what matters. When he wins, people who are trained to put down insurrections and insurging will do so swiftly. Protect yourself, but do not engage. Oh, I agree with you. Roman hoax, 100%. Do not engage. I agree with you. Just protect yourself. No, I agree with you 100%. And the country, we have 50 states, and we have the third most populous country in the world. In terms of landmass, I think, third or fourth largest country. And there aren't third, Russia, Canada, U.S., and they were third most populous country. But the people are saying, oh, there's going to be, the civil conflict. Roman hoax, I agree 100% with you. There's not going to be one, and a lot of these skirmishes are almost, they're not staged, but it's almost like you shouldn't be in these areas, and people have lost their lives and have been murdered. You shouldn't go towards danger. You should run away from danger. You should always remove yourself from dangerous situations. And anyway, it's funny too. The left is like, they're the ones who want gun control. It's conservatives and people who support Trump who have have embraced the Second Amendment. So that makes no sense from the perspective of a civil conflict. Roman hoax, thank you again. I agree with you. Larry Whitaker, never go left again. Independent lean right until they redefine those terms again. Liberty, House, and Senate runs matter. Absolutely, Larry. I agree with you. Senate, I think the most. Supreme Court and can block legislation. But yeah, Larry Whitaker, great point. That's a great point. That is a great point. I don't see how. I just don't see how they go with Biden. That would remove any energy or any. That would just remove any possibility or energy or enthusiasm for close congressional races. I don't see the logic. They're doing it to themselves again, and it's like apparent for everyone to see. Larry, thank you so very, very much. I agree with you. Lyle Bud, seen the After Action Report live streams here in Portland. Awesome, nice. Lyle Bud. Stay safe. Stay safe. Yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable how all of these cities, it's like the mayors and the governors of these states are giving President Trump already had the election. They're giving him the election even more so. Lyle Bud, thank you. Stay safe, Lyle. Stay safe. Roman hoax. HA, just to be clear, I was talking about other people talking about civil war, not you. You're smart. Thank you, Roman hoax. Yes, no, I appreciate that, and I got that from your original super chat. Thank you so very, very much, Roman hoax. Thank you. Yeah. We're not going to have standing armies, or there aren't two sides like from 1861 to 1865. There aren't two sides. Roman hoax, thank you again, that are going to engage in pitched battles, and if anything, the conservatives in these altercations haven't really fought back, which I'm not advocating anyone does. But media always coddles and supports and sympathizes and empathizes with left-leaning, peaceful vandals who engage in violence. I mean, you look at the number of lives lost because of this, because of all the property damage, the lives lost. If these things took place immediately after or during a pro-life rallies throughout the country, I mean, it would be the fault of Trump and the Republicans, but because it's the opposite, well, you can't prove anything, and they really focus on, for example, the paintballs. Trump supporters had paintballs, I think it was in Oregon. And it's like, you're focusing on that? You have police stations in 3 cities that were set on fire. And you're focusing on that? Oh, okay. It's like, they pretty much, and now you have Debbie Wasserman. This is hilarious. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is now taking control of making sure this is a person who was forced to resign, okay? forced to resign. And now this is hilarious too. Now they're against taking a vaccine because it's Trump's administration. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Everything, and this is, you wonder, like, well, how are they going to do it with Clinton? Every single thing they stood for, they have now thrown into the trash. So why do you think they would care about Biden being replaced? No, I mean, it's like, when it happens, we're finally, and think about it, from their perspective, they're like, look, if we wait till the last second, nobody will talk about the Clinton Foundation, or the servers, or Whitewater, or, 40 years of scandals. All right, let's see here. So, let's just see, ladies and gentlemen. A couple more minutes. It's like really, really hot. Really hot in Southern California. Really hot. Like 118 degree hot. I can't wait also for Twitter. One thing that Twitter does, which will also be one of the reasons President Trump wins. Like, this post from Trump says misinformation, disinformation. It's like, just because he expresses an opinion. See, what they do is they think that a fact check means rebuttal. A fact check usually was simply for a claim, a statement that was either true or not true. And simply saying that there's potential for fraud is not a statement that you can say is not true. It is an opinion based on a whole bunch of facts and reality. There have been a number of years of incidents where mail-in ballots and absentee ballots have been linked to massive fraud. New York Times talked about it. Slate talked about it. This was in 2016, 2012, 2008. So you can make that a statement, an opinion based on a fact or a showing suspicion, which the Democrats do all the time without any basis in reality. Oh, he's never going to leave, That's okay. You don't have to fact check Trump's opinion, but that's what they do. And then they offer a rebuttal, and then they say he lied. It's like, no, that's not a lie. Simply having a different viewpoint, offering a rebuttal doesn't prove that he lied. But see, that's where it's come to. They don't have a basic grasp of logic. Jimbo! Madam Secretary will ride in like Joan of Arc. Exactly. Jimbo! Exactly. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Jimbo, I hope all is well. Hope all is well. Jimbo! Ladies and gentlemen, it is hot, and I am going to call it quits. I just want to thank you. I think that we had no technical difficulties tonight, so that was great. Jimbo and everyone here, and Nana for Children, and everybody, to my super chat, thank you. And we have 600 viewers, not bad. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you to the moderators, and everybody, God bless. I'll see you tomorrow. It's heating up, people, but not just the weather. Things are heating up, and I'm going to be starting some more content on H.A. Goodman's other channel soon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to my super chat. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Be here every evening, 9 p.m. Be here every evening, 9